Funny has a BTech in electronics and electrical engineering from BITS Pilani, and he has done a proficiency course in networking from IISc, from the Indian Institute of Science. He's worked in ST Microelectronics and then at Texas Instruments as a hardware design engineer, as a chip design engineer. He did that for close to 5 years before one day he ran into difficulty finding a bus ticket back home for a festival holiday. And then, like Mahatma Gandhi's famous story of being thrown out of a train in South Africa, the history of bus travel changed in India. He couldn't find a bus ticket. And so we all travel by bus very differently thanks to what he did. So he set up redBus. redBus, as you all know, has been a huge success. We are very fortunate that he could find time. Being young, he's about a generation younger than me, I think. He's not been happy to have just set up and sold off redBus. So he's doing a bunch of different things now. But the thing that I wish to highlight is the kind of work he's doing in Nizamabad, where he's trying to get many more people to be like him, to become entrepreneurs. And I think the important lesson that I would see for other entrepreneurs, he's going to share his life's journey today with us today. But apart from all the lessons that he's going to share with us as an entrepreneur, I think the giving side of what he is engaging in, of going back to a small town where people there are not as privileged as we all are living in cities. And he's encouraging them to find enterprises of their own. I think that's truly laudable. Funny, thank you for being here again. We're fortunate to have you.
Thank you, Professor, for the kind introduction and inviting me to the graduation ceremony. The journey of redBus. I'm happy to share it with you all today. So who we are? We are the country's largest bus ticketing company, even today. So when we started, this tagline said we are the country's largest online bus ticketing company. But our mentors actually told us, gave us one thought which was so profound then. They said the whole reason of our existence, of redBus's existence, is because there was a disruption in the market, which was internet, right? Otherwise, bus tickets have been sold for decades in the country. There were travel agents who were in the business, who was their family business. Their grandfather sold bus tickets, their father sold bus tickets, and they sell bus tickets out of the same place. And we didn't know anything about buses, etc. But we come there and in a matter of maybe 2-3 years, take a significant portion of that market away. So that is the disruption. If we could do to a traditional business, our mentors told us that that could happen to you someday, right? When we started, we were an internet company selling bus tickets on internet. But today, I'm no longer with the company as we exited about a year and a half back. But what I learned from publicly available data is redBus today is a mobile company. It's no longer an internet company, and it's completely, significant portion of its revenues come from mobile. So what we sold was an internet company. What they kind of acquired is a mobile company. That's a big transition. If we didn't make the transition, I think we would have probably lost our business. And that's why it was very important for us to remove the online from our description, to say that we are only a bus ticketing company, irrespective of what technologies or medium we use to sell bus tickets. And that made us really open ourselves to the disruptions that could happen. Very soon, people could probably buy bus tickets out of their wearable devices, or people could buy bus tickets out of their DTH televisions. So we do not know, but I'm very confident that redBus has the thinking and the culture to ride those waves. So that's the significance of dropping that word in our description. So quickly, going to the next one, we're largest in almost every aspect of what we do, largest in aggregation, largest in distribution, largest in geographic presence, and et cetera, and all that. More interestingly, what's exciting to us was when we started it, I'm going to talk about how we started it. It started out of a personal need. I was working here in Texas Instruments in Bangalore. as a child, I was very curious about electronics. I mean, for me, switching on the switch here and a fan rotating there was like a magic to me. As a child, what is magic to you? I mean, magic is something where you can't connect the cause and effect, but it happens, right? Electricity was something like that to me. I mean, you switch on a button there and a light glows there, right? I mean, there's no apparent connection. You can't see anything flying from there to the light, but the light glows. So that caught my fascination, and I always wanted to do electronics. I studied electronics engineering. And I got a job here in Texas Instruments, got a job to make electronics chips, and I was very happy. My parents are in Hyderabad, so I used to take buses frequently there. And so Diwali of 2005, when I went to my regular travel agent to book a bus ticket, I couldn't get a bus ticket. So the modus operandi there, when somebody wants to buy a bus ticket, I mean, I'm talking about 8 years back, and maybe some of you have experienced this. So when a passenger goes to a travel agent to book a bus ticket, the travel agent makes phone calls to the bus operators to find out if they have any seats. So when I went to this travel agent, he picked up the phone, called the first operator to ask if he has any seats. The first operator didn't have the seat, so he called the second operator. He didn't have a seat. Then he called the third operator. So likewise, he called like 4 or 5 operators, but none of them could get me a seat. Then he gave up. He said, I couldn't get a ticket. Just when I was leaving his office, he told me that maybe another travel agent could get me a seat. And that really intrigued me. I was thinking, if this person is a travel agent for buses for Bangalore to Hyderabad, he should know whether or not there is any seat which is going vacant from Bangalore to Hyderabad that evening. But how is that he's saying he couldn't get and somebody else could get? But anyway, I was desperate to be home for Diwali, so I just went to the next travel agent. He also made 2 or 3 phone calls, couldn't get me a seat. But I somehow knew that there were at least 30 bus operators. I had a feeling that there were at least 30 bus operators who were running buses from Bangalore to Hyderabad. But none of these agents were calling all the 30 operators. So anyway, after going to like 3 or 4 operators, agents, I couldn't get a seat. So I ended up being in Bangalore for the long weekend. But the next day when I woke up, I was feeling really guilty. Because maybe if I had gone to a 10th travel agent, and maybe if I had called the 30th bus operator, and if the 30th operator had a seat which went vacant from Bangalore to Hyderabad that evening, it was a loss to that operator because he would have burned the same fuel, same driver, everything, but gone with 1 seat vacant. And it was a loss to these 3 or 4 travel agents to whom I went to for a seat. Because they could have sold a seat and made money. And it was a loss to a customer like me because I desperately needed that seat but just didn't know which corner of the city the seat was. So all the 3 of us were losing out because information about bus seats wasn't seamlessly available to all of us. And being an engineer, the solution, the answer was very apparent, right? I mean, why can't there be a computer system where all the bus operators just mention which are the buses they run and how many seats are available. So that the first travel agent, instead of calling the bus operators randomly, he could just log on to that screen and see which of these operators have a seat and subsequently call only that operator who has a seat. So that was the solution that we came up with. And quickly, I wrote a mail to all my flatmates. We were all bachelors staying here, working for different companies. We were classmates at Pilani. When I wrote a mail to them, they were very excited. So all of us came together, pulled out a project plan, split the work, and started writing software. One of us started going to the bus operators to find out how it works. Ended up creating the software in about 6-7 months. Went to the bus operators to sell that software or give that software for free, but they were not taking it. And that meant the end of the idea, right? If we give the software to the bus operators and the bus operators don't use the software, there is no way that we could get access to the live inventory, which we could show either to the customer or to the travel agent. Yes, I mean, so we didn't know what to do, and that's when a friend of mine told me about TIE. TIE stands for the Indus Entrepreneurs, which is a non-profit organization set to help entrepreneurs. So I learned about it, went to Thai, got mentors from there, and the mentors really helped us navigate through that. And it was not just then. I mean, as entrepreneurs yourself, you'd have seen, I mean, so many times we run into a lot of dilemmas and questions. For first-time entrepreneurs like us, and also people who are not oriented to entrepreneurship, almost every day there was a dilemma. But the nice thing that has happened is the whole ecosystem, right, in terms of mentors and et cetera and all that, they came forward to help us navigate through that. And at the end of 8 years, we could have a company which does millions of transactions and changed the way the bus ticketing has happened. More importantly, what has been one of my personal learning is what we started off was out of a personal need, and even when we started this, we were in a dilemma whether it really warrants pursuing it, because the idea was so simple. But as we continued our journey, we realized that actually a solution like this doesn't exist in any country in the world, right? And that was like a big learning to me. And today the company which acquired us is, I think this month they're launching redBus in Singapore. Yeah. And even like if you look, Google has this tool called Google Trends, where you could go and put a keyword and see how many searches for that keyword happens and in which geography and etc. and all that. So when we started, the word online bus tickets, right? I mean, before 2005, there were hardly any searches. We also proved that there's no online bus tickets, so nobody was searching. And until recently, even now, the highest number of searches that's come for bus ticketing is from India. I mean, for me, it is like, I mean, I was of the orientation that the innovations happen in the valley and go all over the world. But some of these innovations can happen anywhere and go across, right? So that's been our journey. In terms of the product, we have these 3 products. The first software is called BOSS, which is given as a ERP to the bus operators. Then redBus is a consumer-facing web interface, and SeatSeller is a travel agent-facing site. Between these 3 products, there is a nice network effect that sets in. With more and more bus operators on BOSS, it attracts more and more travel agents to come onto SeatSeller. Because a competitor may not have as many options as we have. And again, from the bus operator side, bus operator is more prone to list himself or be a part of an ecosystem which has more number of travel agents than an ecosystem which has less number of travel agents. So that's like the network effect which propelled itself to a large extent. So I think a lot of credit also goes to the way the business, the network effect was running in the business. There are other factors which have helped us in the business, the supply side fragmentation. Unlike the railways, which is only one service provider, and airlines where there are only maybe 4 or 5 service providers, in buses, there were like thousands of service providers. And hence, there was a need for a aggregator which would show options. Like in the case of railways, you don't need an aggregator. You can just go to IRCTC and get the most comprehensive information about trains. But the nature of the business also nature of the industry helped us in the business. There are other macro factors which have helped us in the business and will continue to help the business, such as migration or urbanization, right? I mean, as a cities, other phenomena that's been happening, I think in the last maybe 1-2 decades is massive urbanization. I mean, there is migration from villages and towns to the cities for jobs. That necessitates a need for people to travel back or their relatives and etc. There's a lot of need for transportation. And unfortunately for the country, unfortunately for us, the other modes of transportation have not taken off. For example, we don't have bullet trains. We don't have airports in almost every 100-kilometer radius. Because other modes, we don't have the waterways. So the only mode of transportation was road. Thankfully, the highways were getting better, all thanks to the Vajpayee's golden quadrilateral and etc. So such macro factors have also helped us. I think we were we were very lucky to be at the right time at the right place. As a result of all this, the company witnessed kind of exponential growth. I don't have numbers for the latest years because the company is sold and I can't talk over the numbers. But this has been the growth that we've seen, and this is our claim to fame. This is why we've been famous. I mean, the cause, thank you. But the cause for, I mean, most of this is also beyond us, which is the macro, yeah. Yeah, that's the ticket value, yeah. Sorry? I mean, I don't have it in this presentation. And then the other things are like, I mean, actually we are an 8-year-old company headquartered here. Then we went all across the country. Right now we are probably about 900 employees. I mean, for me, another learning, I mean, at times I wonder, when I get into the office, like here in Bangalore, we have 3 buildings. Each building is like 3 floors, and there's massive thing. And sometimes looking at this 900 or whoever, 800 people, and I mean, when I look at myself in the mirror, I mean, I feel a little this thing that I mean, the CEO of this company is such a large thing, right? I think most of it, I mean, I mean, sharing my personal experience, I didn't really have to do, I didn't have to do many things here, like build this 800 people. It is a team, and I mean, you work on it for certain size, and then after that it takes over by, I mean, it takes over by itself. Like you have a manager and there is a ripple effect, manager hires more managers, and everything gets into structure with the experience of so many others who join you. So, I mean, with this experience, I feel confident of building maybe a 10,000 people company, because I know it's the same effort. It's the same maybe 15 hours a day that I have to put, right? And even the person who is managing maybe a 1 lakh employee company is still putting in the same amount of time. But the only difference is, I think, how mentally we orient ourselves. I mean, there have been a lot of learnings. I mean, this is one of the learnings of our journey. Other things like, I mean, some of these are outdated, but the number of bus operators and the bus services and the government, I mean, even in government, our experience has been that, I mean, people said if you have to work with government, you have to bribe them. I mean, if you look at the reason we started it not like a business. We didn't start it because we wanted to set up a business. We started it because there was a pain point and we thought we could solve it, and that was the whole objective and the purpose of our running the business. So that gave us a lot of freedom and flexibility in the way we wanted to run the business. So some of the things were like we said, we'd never bribe. Right? Even if we don't get any of the government operators, which could also mean that you may not be the #1 bus ticketing company. You could be the #2, or maybe you may not exist, right? Even at the cost of that, because we never set out to be this #1 bus ticketing company in the country or build this large enterprise. For us, the stakes were low, because even if we lost the business, our benchmark was, I mean, I'm talking about my personal benchmark. Personal benchmark was going back to the job, right? So the stakes were low to lose it. So we experimented on certain things, one of which is saying that, okay, we're not bribe to get a government contract. It took time for the first 5 years in our 7 years journey. We didn't have any government operators. But the day the first government operator came, and he came without us paying any money, and we could prove that by coming to us, he could get more occupancy, the other operators came in no time. And today, probably, redBus works with maybe 7 government operators. I mean, it was an experiment for ourselves, and I'm very happy of going through that experiment and learning. And I can confidently share our learnings, and if at all, I think I or our team does any company by themselves, I'm sure they will follow it because they've seen it. So these are some of our deep learnings while doing the company. And lastly, okay, probably this is not relevant today, but at that point in time, we were one of the largest transacted websites in the country. Today, I think it still holds good in the category of travel. Before the likes of Flipkart's beat us down. But in travel, we are, I mean, after IRCTC, we are probably the largest transacted website just by the sheer number of commuters who travel by bus. So that's all for now. Thank you very much.